Hello YouTube, Byzantine Scott here, and I'm going to react to let's just say child abuser. And no, I'm not trying to thirst trap, and I would never want to. It's pretty warm today for Utah in February. It was 60 degrees at some point, but yeah, as soon as I'm done with this depressing video of child abuse, I will be right back outside. But let's react to some child abuse. And I just want to note, they look at their dark eye circles. This is depressing and it's child abuse. The children are stressed and malnourished. That kid looks underdeveloped on the right. The two girls look like you can't make this up. It literally looks like there's charcoal rubbed on their eyes. That's not healthy or normal. Yeah, typical French toast has eggs, so I wonder how she's going to imitate that. So, empty fiber and lots of advanced glycation end products from the starches. And especially when you cook these things and there's tons of sugar content or amino acids, they turn into AGEs or advanced glycation end products. And for a typical normal healthy adult, these stay in your body about 70% of them and they don't leave. And for unhealthy people, obese people, predisposed people, about 90% of the AGEs do not leave your body. So the only way to fix this is to eat raw food that doesn't contain any starches or massive amounts of sugars. And obviously, fructose is fine when there is adequate UV and you're getting grounded because then you have a charge in your body, electron charge. You have free electrons, which optimizes your mitochondria. Name them. With the antioxidants, those are plant antioxidants. They are pro-oxidants for humans because they are meant to prevent oxidation in the plants, and it's completely opposite in the human body. There might be some minerals because it's a plant. I believe it'd be a fruit, and it's also best to name what vitamins there are when you're talking about nutrition. She'll probably try to say that there's things like vitamin A. There is no vitamin A. There is beta carotene, which is a pigment, and about half of the population can only convert it about 5%. So there is no nutrition in this pumpkin. There's only pigments, trace amounts of minerals, the plant version of vitamin C, and pro-oxidants. And it's important to note that in a pumpkin's raw form, it's very toxic because there's seeds in it. And as this should be understood by this point, that seeds are the one of the most protected parts of a plant because it's the one thing that the plant needs to reproduce. And so things like tannins, they disrupt your gut for a reason because they're trying to hurt you, they're trying to kill you. And so you should not be consuming these foods. It's just slop. That looks disgusting. Feed this like in the raw form to a kid, no sugar, uncooked. They won't eat it. Oh gosh. So that's water blended with seeds, cultivated seeds that for the most part didn't exist throughout our entire existence. And so these obviously are going to have some issues. Undoubtedly, there's phytic acid, there's lectins, there's tons of toxins. There's not 7 grams of protein in that. It does not have a full amino acid profile. So Good luck getting your protein. And it's clear that your protein goals aren't working because look at your kids. Name them, maybe? Extremely toxic. Like, you can't even consume this in high amounts because it's so disgusting. And it's important to know that when your body tells you that something does not taste good, you should not be eating it. And so, trying to have this in this form and at a normal quantity for humans, you would immediately throw up, spit it out, become repulsed. Why would you have this? It's not, it has no nutrition, no value. Cinnamon is extremely toxic. It has an LD50 value, so it can kill you at a certain amount. And people like to say, well, doesn't everything kill you at a certain amount? No. For example, there's no such thing as eating too much meat because our bodies have a mechanism in our stomach called the brain axis or the gut brain axis to determine how much you need and to tell you when to stop. But things like cinnamon, things like vanilla, very potent and small toxic things, your body doesn't have the mechanism to sense them. And so, and because you're hijacking it, and because it's in such a refined and potent form, it goes straight into the stomach and it's masked by sugar and fat with like cinnamon rolls, stuff like that. And your body can't tell because it's not an actual food for us. And then it causes immense issues. I mean, you could look up the cases on this. It's killed people. It's killed children. Again, it has an LD50 value. It's extremely toxic. It's the tree bark of a tree, essentially. So, again, one of the most protected forms of a plant because without the tree bark, the tree would suffer. And so, I I'd be really careful feeding this to your kids. It looks like slop. I don't I'm sure she has a good intent. I can definitely appreciate the passion around veganism. It's just which side they're on is completely false and detrimental. But I get it. They're just trying to do stuff that they think is good, but they're in delusion, sadly. And it's like they'll never know the heaven of having meat until they wake up. It's like, and you can look at ex-vegan interviews, and they all say like, I like if I hadn't tried meat, I wouldn't have known how good it was. Like people imitate animal products on this diet for a reason. So it's like, come on, man. I would rather wash my hair, wash my hands in eggs any day of the week. You're delusional. Pumpkin puree? Do you want to have orange, slimy hands? Or do you want to have egg yolks on your hands where these little pores in your hands are going to absorb the egg yolks and the egg whites, which I mean, you could benefit from that because you're at a very low point in nutrition. So I feel bad for you there. Uh, Oh, so you don't want eggs on your hands because they're gross, but it doesn't smell or it doesn't taste good. So you need to cover it in sugar and glycate yourself. Well, you can't glycate yourself because you don't have any fat, but bananas are essentially just sugar bombs. They're starchy. And the blueberries, I assume they are not wild, so they'll be covered in glyphosate, which also has an LD50 value, which can kill you at certain amounts. And again, people like to make the argument that, well, the poison's in the dose. Well, if something at a certain dose can kill you, you should probably not consume it. And it's definitely not a natural thing. And if you want to eat fruit that has been sprayed with things like really strong essential oils or things like caffeine. And I understand caffeine is a toxin, but not much of that actually goes into the fruit, and it's a lot better option than glyphosate, which is cancerous. And again, it's just pouring a sauce on top, and it's essentially just imitating things like blood, cream, milk, honey. And it's a recurring thing with these vegans is that they're so obsessed with their food because they're so starved, and it's like this is their baseline, this is them on vegan, and then this is them when they're hungry and I'm out of frame. But then when they eat, they come back up. But if they just ate meat, they'd be up here. They'll never know until they try it. Oh gosh. I used to eat this garbage as a kid. I mean, the popcorn tasted like plastic because of this machine. I used to have this. It's like literally melting plastic into your food. Oh my gosh. Oh, instead of butter, so we're just imitating butter. Yeah, olive oil is really unstable. It's a double bonded hydrogen structure, and so things like lipid peroxidation happen. This can cause a lot of things like rusted LDL, sunburns because those LDL transporters go to your skin, and there's oxidation in your skin. This is not a good substitute to butter, especially if you care about your health and it's lacking multiple micronutrients, and it does not have ADE and K2, and it's very high in linoleic acid. I think it's about 9 to 15%, if I'm not mistaken. The proper proportion should be 2%. Good. Throw it away. It makes me wonder if these kids did that on purpose so they can eat maybe something less disgusting. Oh gosh. Potatoes will have a lot of glycoalkaloids. Not as much when they're ripened or when they're not green anymore, but they still do contain it because it's the defense chemical in the skin of the potato, and this is to get you to not eat it, which is why you should not eat it because it disrupts your gut. And then broccoli is one of the worst things you could put in your body. It didn't exist until about 2,000 years ago, and the modern broccoli we know about 50 years ago. And things like goitrogens, phytic acid, for example, goitrogens will impair your iodine uptake into the thyroid, which will cause hypothyroidism if you eat too much of them. So broccoli is not a health food at all. And nobody looks at this and they're like, oh, that looks good. They're always putting it in sauce, they're always salting it, roasting it, seasoning it. I remember being lied to as a child by my parents that these things prevented cancer. And so funny enough, I would put seasoning on it because I couldn't bear the taste. They're disgusting. Nobody wants them. It's a flour. And potatoes are a starvation food. They've been heavily changed and cultivated. They came from South America, I believe, and they're not, they have no nutrition. Oh, wait, what'd she say? It's because they're less brainwashed than you and they know that meat tastes the best. If you have to season like you would meat, which you don't even have to season meat, and I would not recommend that. Everything you're doing in this meal is just imitating meat to trick your children and brainwash them even more. But it seems that they're still at the point where their biology like emerges with their cravings. They don't want these things, and so you try to imitate it with meat seasoning essentially to create the illusion. It's sad. And again, the massive amounts of oil, which again will give you lipid peroxidation, crystallized arteries, because these oils are solid below 105 degrees. And so, in a lot of cadavers that people open up, and Dr. Augenis von der Planets mentioned this, there was literally crystallized poly and monounsaturated fats in the arteries, and so we should not have these in our diets, and at least not at the proportions that they are. There is some poly and mono in beef and pork and chicken, but obviously red ruminant meat has the proper proportions because it doesn't cause these issues. Redmond salt. Redmond's is actually about 40 miles north of me here in Utah. Salt is extremely toxic. It's not indicated for the human body at all. And there's plenty of videos where they try to give salt to natural tribes, and there's this one case where the guy tried to kill the person that gave him salt. You don't need salt. What you do need is things like fruit juice in the summer, coconut water, eating fruit in general. Obviously, pectin fiber fruit. That's the only fruit I would ever recommend. Things like melons, berries, sometimes oranges if you'd like. But yeah, it's man. Oh gosh. And especially when you're not eating raw meat or just meat in general, your taurine is going to be extremely low, which is an osmolyte that regulates the sodium balances, the sodium and potassium balances in your body. And so she's just getting mega amounts of salt and not enough taurine to regulate it. And she is probably getting some amounts of potassium. Obviously, every single food or plant, and obviously plants aren't food, has a certain amount of potassium. Along with the salt, you have to microdose it because they would be extremely potent and toxic to your mouth in their raw natural form. Does anybody look at that and think, "Oh, that's food"? This doesn't have over 15 micronutrients. It doesn't have ADE and K2, creatine, carnosine. There's nothing. It's void. There's it's the and the fact that she's feeding this to her children on a systemic basis is pretty sad. It's child abuse. No, it doesn't. And if the broccoli was so good, why wouldn't you just eat it raw? You can't because it's disgusting. And if you're going to eat that, I'm at least glad that you cooked it because of the goitrogens, um, which will cause hypothyroidism. Notice how the kid didn't eat it? It's so sad. Oh gosh. Look at his face. Look how sad that kid looks. Do you think if that was like the healthiest food that you could eat, he'd be like, "No," I'd be like, that's pretty good." And it's obvious that the kids are going to come and eat because they're malnourished and starving. And this kid, he looks like extremely anemic. He'd obviously not getting heme iron, not getting vitamin A or D. That's really sad. You can you can tell there's dark eye circles there. And notice how he's just like so bored. Like he doesn't look like he's enjoying it at all. Your meals should be easy in general. Go to the fridge, get a raw organ, a raw muscle meat, and just eat it. That's it. Or if you live in the right places and you want to, just go out and hunt. Go shoot an animal, cut it open, eat its liver, eat its spleen, its kidneys, its heart, eat some muscle meat. And that may not be so simple, but that's what your biology wants. And I remember yesterday I was looking everywhere I could to just find some sort of hunt because we crave it. And this is things like, the tug of a fish. It's so gratifying because your biology literally wants it. You're trying to eat this animal and kill it. And it no one follows their intuition at all. When your intuition is telling you, I don't want to cook. I don't want to put this pan on this stove and cook all these things and then clean. Don't do it. Go out, get a fresh, fatty piece of meat and just eat it. Don't cook it. Don't season it. Don't do anything. Just go out, open the package if it's plastic, go to your butcher, just tell them to hand it to you, and just start eating it. It's that easy and it's nutritious. You get 15 extra micronutrients that you're not getting, and it's until these people try it, they'll never know how delicious and invigorating it is. It's amazing. Oh god. Um where do I even start? Full of heavy metals, mercury. Oh gosh. And I wonder what they're stored into. It's probably plastic. Oh gosh. Rice has no way to filter itself. And this is clearly understood by now. There's tons of heavy metals and it raises your blood sugar just like normal table sugar would because it's starchy. And it's a seed, so it's the most protected part of the plant, which means you're going to get a lot of gut disruption. Terrible choice, especially the brown and the yellow rice. You can literally see the toxins and the dirt and the it's disgusting. I don't the mushrooms to imitate, like eyeballs, spleen, liver, because they do look very similar when they're cooked. Just eat animals. Ugh. Mmm, more toxins. Yeah, have you ever tried to just bite into an onion, eat it raw, eat the whole thing? It's first of all, it it literally makes you cry for a reason. It's trying to tell you don't eat me because it's not a fruit. It has the mechanisms to scare off an animal. And we're the only gullible animals to try and eat these systemically. Things like dogs, because when they're starving, they'll eat stuff like that. And I don't know if they affect dogs in the same way. But yeah, for one, crying, it's, oh gosh. And they're antimicrobial, so they kill your cells. You literally stress your body trying to eat these things. I mean, the flavor is just disgusting. I remember having raw meat for the first time, not the first time, first couple times, and I'm like, I was still brainwashed, so I put some onion powder on it. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever eaten in my life. I couldn't finish the steak, and that was a big mistake. I'm never putting onion on anything ever again. It's toxic. Oh, it's mushrooms. Still, imitating liver. Guys, I just dehydrated my feces and blended it into a powder. That's what it looks like. It's just constant attempts to imitate dairy animal fat. Just eat the animal fat, man. Imitating cream. Oh, yeah. All the phytoestrogens to make you menopausal and your children not develop. Oh, gosh. Garlic contains allicin, which is, again, has an LD50 value. And this comes from grinding, chopping, anything that alters the form of the garlic. This has killed children. There's cases reported of this. Do not eat garlic. It's very toxic and potent. Hence why you have to microdose it. If if it was our natural diet, you would not have to microdose it. You wouldn't have to microdose herbs or that salt, which is extremely toxic and has an LD50 value. Pepper has trypsin inhibitors, which directly inhibit the absorption of proteins. This is because it's a seed and it's trying to defend itself against animals or other creatures trying to eat them. Pepper tastes extremely disgusting too. It's and people are so desensitized to it because it's on everything. But it's just like I went like a month without having pepper, and then the meat I had yesterday had pepper on it, and like my mouth was burning. I hated it. It was disgusting, and oh gosh. And by the way, I this is my this is a steak that I had at someone else's house that they made for me, and I literally had to scrape the seasoning off because it was couldn't handle it. Oh man, I can just smell the toxins through the screen. Just green death. This color of green is not appealing to humans. If this is appealing to you, you're brainwashed. This cultivated flower, it's reheat the heavy metals. Oh. And a huge issue with this rice is it develops mold because of the water, the starch, and the surface area. So you're eating mold. So, I mean, it might be a good way to get some sort of life that isn't a plant in your food, but maybe not the best. Ah, imitating cheese. I'm guessing that's nutritional yeast. Yep. They're constantly trying to imitate fat. Not to mention how abrasive the fiber is in broccoli. It's stringy and tough, and it cuts against the walls of your digestive tract. And studies like Paul Mason demonstrate this when they had low carb vegetables. They reported bloody stool, but the low carb no plant diet group had no bloody stool relatively. Oh gosh, that's making dude. I'm holding back gags. I'm not faking it either. This is disgusting. Oh, and then cook it again. It's just processing after processing. Ugh, heavy metals, goitrogens, salt, yeast to imitate cheese, onions which contain toxins. Oh my gosh. And then you cook it again. It's just oxidation, and especially advanced glycation end products, like I mentioned earlier. They'll be heavily prominent, especially with those starches in the rice. Look at it. It looks like ground beef. It's just imitation after imitation. I'll make sure not to. Oh my gosh. Look at the kid's eyes. Do you see the dark eye circles? And I have some right now because unfortunately I have to work every single day for hours. I just picked up a new job. And these just came this morning actually. I went to bed at 1 this morning, so heavily prominent, but as a child, no work and reasonably no stress, and they have dark eye circles. It's a huge indicator that their diet is not healthy. This They're malnourished. It's oh man. Well, that was a sad video about how she abuses her children. And I don't know how her and her family are doing now, if they eat meat now. God willing, they do, because that's just sad. And um, to anyone who's considering the vegan diet, don't do it, please. It lacks over 15 micronutrients, things like A, D, E, and K2, creatine, carnosine, and many more that I can't remember because it's a lot. But you will run into deficiencies, you'll run into issues, digestive problems, bloating, Crohn's disease, brain fog, ADHD, and ultimately death, as we see with a lot of vegans. It's just the unfortunate reality of brainwashing. And if you're struggling with your health and you need help, I offer a course of how to eat naturally and to eat the optimal human diet. And I don't sell this course. This is all on my Instagram, on my YouTube. I'm promoting it every single day. And it's simple. Eat raw meat. Raw meat does not have advanced glycation end products. The enzymatic activity is not denatured because it's below 105 degrees, which is the temperature of the animal that it works at. Have things like organ meats, raw, preferably, like liver. Liver is very rich in vitamin A, which is the retinol version, which you need. Pumpkins, like in this video, do not have retinol, which means it does not have vitamin A. Things like heme iron in liver, so you don't go anemic. And it's funny, there was a Nobel Peace Prize study on this that showed that having, I can't remember how much it was per week of raw liver, but it cured an incurable anemia case across the board. Things like spleen and kidneys, rich in vitamin C, which is also another lie about the raw carnivore diet, that there's no vitamin C. There is absolutely vitamin C. And when you and the thing you need vitamin C for is hydrolyzing proteins. But if you have hydrolyzed proteins from collagen and you get a lot of glutathione, which regulates and recycles vitamin C, you do not need to eat plants. And some dairy here and there if you're young. It does have sugar and fat at the same time, and that's the only place in nature where you'll find that. And it's specifically to grow, to support IGF-1 growing, and this is because of the Randle cycle, which is the upregulation of competition between glucose and fat through milk. And in the summer, if you'd like to have some fruit and you'd like to have some coconut water, I really like coconut water. It's hydrating. Do that. Listen to your intuition. I did the fake carnivore diet for about a year. I quit about a week before it was going to be a year because I came to the realization that my body it's telling me to eat something sweet, and I've been ignoring it for so long. And it's funny enough, because it's an eating disorder. I thought I would get fat if I had sugar. I did not get fat. I actually lost weight. So don't be afraid of some fructose. And if it's sunny, especially don't be afraid. Go out, get your feet in the grass, stand in the sun for hours. You'll feel amazing. And this will optimize your mitochondria for the fruit. And so, fat and flesh of an animal, the organs which have the most nutrients out of anything in this world. Some dairy if you tolerate it. Make sure it's raw. Make sure it's in glass. And it's not in plastic, which will accumulate in your balls and your brain. Have things like fruit in the summer. And no, we did not just eat meat all the time and never have fruit. We had seasonal fruit. And this fruit was not as cultivated. It's very small, so you'd only find a little bit, and the sugar was not very much. So either have like a little bit of sugar every day during the summer, or just have a bigger amount every once in a while. And to share my personal story, I got up to about 280 pounds. I was eating fast food every day, living a terrible lifestyle. I thought I had ADHD. I thought I was predisposed to this terrible living situation. And I did the fake carnivore diet, which helped me a lot to lose weight. And then I recently switched to the raw carnivore diet, which got rid of a lot of inflammation that I was having. I lost about 7 more pounds, and now I'm down to about 192 pounds. And so I feel amazing. And if you need help, please reach out to me in the comments in my DMs. How do I do this? What do I do? I'd love to help you. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.